Hello and good evening. Welcome to Drinkshares Last Call. This is the show where four authors sit down, drink, and talk books. To start off, we're going to go around and have everyone introduce themselves and tell me what is one of your favorite Inkshares campaigns. How about we'll start with Joe.
Zach Jordan's was my favorite by far because he had a lot of updates. I had a lot of character and thought, and he made it look really easy to like spam out that many updates because they were just all the time, and each one was original and funny. And I generally don't read a lot of updates because they're all kind of samey of like, hey guys, I really need pre-orders, I'm running out of time. And his were all in-world and funny and really showed off a lot of character, and that's what went from, oh, here's another book I'm following, to here's a book I'm pre-ordering, and here's a book that I want to succeed.
Yes. And what is your book?
My book is Lost Generation, which is going to, sorry, I turned on another chat window when I was trying to get going, and then like I got distracted because like Joe from the past was talking about Zach Jordan. It was very, very distracting. My book is Lost Generation, and I am wrapping it up, and I'm going to have a copy available for everybody to read, the one that I'll be sending to Inkshares at the end of November.
Yay! It's exciting.
So be ready. Be ready.
Okay. And how about Becky next?
Well, I am Becky Lieber, aka Rebecca S. Lieber, author of Intrepid, which is now available on Chinillo, and I have 5 whole updates now. I just posted 2 chapters tonight before the show, so go to my Twitter and find that link that I just posted probably about maybe sometime between a half an hour and an hour ago. Go join up on Chinillo and read my awesome story about magic and motorcycles and mermaids. And since Joe doesn't understand what the word dibs means, and even though I clearly called Zach Jordan before the show started,
nobody said no samesies. So.
I'm sorry. When the words "I call Zach Jordan" came out of my mouth, I thought that was clear. Like you were educated in those rules during childhood. So since Joe doesn't know what dibs means, I guess I'm gonna have to go with G.A. Figure. How did you pronounce it, Christine? Do you remember how it was pronounced? He was the author of Nightmares.
Joe to pronounce it for me.
You can just read it.
I'd have to look at it. I'd have to look at the
spelling, and I don't have it in front of me.
It's long.
Yeah, anyway, he was the author of The Nightmares, and his book was also kind of styled as a graphic novel that was really cool, and it was a huge cast, and I loved his video because when you first watch it, it's just like words on the screen, and then the characters begin interrupting, and he had voice actors do all the different character voices, which was really cool. And so it's almost impossible to get through the trailer description because all the characters are arguing over that's not right and seriously and are we really doing this. So that really cracked me up, and I enjoyed it. But I also really did like Zach's, and I emulated a lot of the stuff that he did, which is why when I was trying to do my campaign for Proxy, I did a lot of in-world stuff for my updates as well, putting out like magazine articles that were supposed to be written about conspiracy theories and things going on within my book. So Jack,
yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you. So Zach Jordan's style really inspired me to kind of step up with my my updates and my messages to my readers and followers and things like that. So,
it's Finocchiaro. Yeah.
G.A. Finocchiaro. And last I knew, he had extended his campaign, but I don't know how long that it got extended for.
Let's see, because I have the window open.
I think
perfect.
Quill. So I don't know how much.
Did he hit Quill?
He did.
That makes me happy because I bought a copy of that. So
he has 10 days left, so you should still pre-order.
Yeah, he's still got 10 days, so go buy more copies because it's really good and I'm really excited about it. And it seems very. The character dialogue and the way the characters play off each other seems very Joss Whedon. Very, what's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Very Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Firefly to me. So I look forward to that now that it's definitely hit.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, seriously. High praise. So, Kara, how about you?
Hello. I'm Kara, AC Weston, author of She Is the End. And the first campaign that came to mind was A Beast Requires by Jay Lockwood, because I just love that book. But then I remembered Chris Huang. His campaign is great. He's got all these games, like text games that you can play. Because his book is Murder at the Veterans Club, and so the text games are like little mysteries that you can go through, and it's so fun. And also he does little sketches of his characters and character profiles, and it's all really good stuff. I highly recommend it.
Like that text thing was really cool. Really neat idea.
Yes, I wish that I knew how to do those kinds of things. I'm sure there's more cool stuff in there that I'm not remembering that he's done. I recommend it.
That actually reminds me. I guess I'll have two answers now because your answer reminded me of another answer. Which is Amanda Ornick's Deus Ex Machina, which had a really cool game
that I had an ARG. And Joe and I are the only ones who have solved it.
Yeah, we together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We solved it together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I only, stepped into that game a little bit, enough to tell that this was really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. I was very proud of us. We did a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Cracking those codes and hacking things.
Yeah, that was good. I was totally stuck. I got to a point and I just was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then Kara kind of picked up the rest and finished it.
Well, I wouldn't have gotten to the point that you were at because I was stuck behind where you were at. So I needed your help to get to the next step, and then I was able to figure it out.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a little good 3 beer slogan right there.
And I'm actually drinking alcohol tonight, so
woohoo!
Good on that. Diet be damned today.
And then, so one of my favorite campaigns was Kara's campaign for She Is the End.
For me? Oh, thanks.
Started out with her cover picture, which was very beautiful and very unique, but unique in the best possible way, where it really catches your attention and makes you want to know more. And then you go to her page, and she had that kick-ass video, which is super, super cool. So yeah, good campaign. And you did the coloring book at one point.
Uh-huh.
Your updates are always fantastic. So
that is one thing that I'm going to be recommending to people for Crowdfunding 101 is that you always try and be thinking of new ideas. There's always something new that you can do.
The hair alone in Kara's trailer is worth the watch.
Yeah.
I worked so hard on that hair. Oh my god.
And then I don't think I actually said my name. I'm Christine Brennicke, author of 7 Shards. So I want to do a quick, what are you drinking? If you're reading anything, I know we've all been crazy busy, so I don't even know if anyone's reading anything right now. But we'll do a little round with that too. With Joe, the drinker, over here.
Good. I sent the link. I sent the tweet link.
Oh, good.
For everybody to watch. And
Thank you very much.
In the chat, warming up our wonderful audience.
So your attention's everywhere.
And the dogs are downstairs howling about something. And
I can hear them.
I think Miro said something, and it's just all over the place.
He probably shared his cheese stick with one of them, and they're angry that he has no more cheese stick.
I think one of them is not so smart, and I'm pretty sure he thinks no one else is at the house right now.
Like everyone's just gone.
Yeah, he just cries and cries because he's gone.
He's sad because he thinks he's alone.
Yeah, and Miro's right there, and the other dog's looking at him like, what's going on? So maybe I'll bring him up if Miro gets chatty. Maybe I'll bring him up and just make sure they don't disrupt.
Did you say what you're drinking?
Yeah, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a mix of Berg Berghoff root beer. This one, and it's mixed with probably too much Kraken.
I love Kraken.
It's really, really good.
I actually prefer it to Captain.
I think it's better than Captain for sure. Like I haven't been drinking it all, and I just felt like today was the day for drinking.
Is it sad that my favorite thing about Kraken is that it comes in like a very piratey bottle? Like
It's
it
a
comes in.
cool ass bottle with I love illustrations,
Mhm.
so I just like that. Like that's all going on, and there's the Kraken is like busting up the ship, and it's like just like the the font and stuff like that is the typography is good. It's just there's everything, and then the insides of it is delicious too.
Yeah.
So it's good all around.
There's a lot of weird stuff happening with the screen, at least on my end. Sorry.
Tara turned invisible.
she did.
I think we should be concerned about that.
There's a ghost.
That's one of the many weird things. So, Becky, what are you drinking?
I am right now drinking chamomile tea because I have meeting in the morning before school starts, and I did not want to have alcohol in my system when I went to bed because it gives me trouble sleeping sometimes. But I will recommend a beer that I had over the weekend because I'm super cool and my family's super cool, so we go on motorcycle trips on the weekends. And we went down to Murfreesboro. Shut up, Wyatt, I'm on the air. He's making fun of me. Imagine that. Anyway, we went down to Murfreesboro, Illinois. I went to the 17th Street Barbecue shop or restaurant or whatever it's called. But it was on TV or something, and my dad saw it. So because it was on the Food Network, we had to go. But they had Big Muddy Brewing Company beer, and they had a vanilla stout that was out of this world. So if you've ever had nitro milk stout and you liked it, you will like this because it's the same flavor, but with just a hint of sweetness. So that was really good. And I wish I was drinking that now instead of chamomile tea because it's not nearly as exciting. But other than that, I am actually reading some nonfiction right now because I bought the, what is it called? The Howard Zinn books, the People's History of the United States. They have several renditions of that now. They have a People's History of the World, and they have one that's for Native Americans now. So that's actually what I'm going through now and reading the Native People's History of the United States, which I'm only in like chapter 2, so I haven't got to the sadness yet, but I assume once we actually get to colonization, I'll just be inconsolable.
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to figure out if my mic is like giving back feedback or not.
It sounds like someone's like dropping a necklace on their microphone over.
I'm like rubbing my shirt against it to see if it makes the noise, and I can't. I don't think
does make a noise.
Does
That
it?
was yeah. Uh-huh.
Are you getting a ruffling from that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not coming through on my end, so I'm gonna take this off.
Okay.
Oh, Professor Joe. No, Joey Bathrobe didn't have that problem.
Yeah, Joey Bathrobe did not have that problem. Are you still getting the noise?
Joey Bathrobe.
It went away. That's good.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was wool shirts are bad for microphones. Let everybody know that.
Maybe microphones are bad for wool shirts. Do you ever think of it that way?
No kidding. I take this since Zcaster is broken. I would take this headphone off, but then you'd hear just dogs and it's pouring rain outside and Miro screaming in the background. So
Well, I'm just saying, Joe, I don't understand why it has to be the brown wool sweaters. The problem. I mean,
I don't know.
it's not the white microphone. It's just the brown wool sweater. Sorry, I'm in that kind of mood tonight.
Just gonna keep drinking this Kraken.
So, Kira, I believe it's your turn.
Kara had some issues or something.
I had a bloody nose, yeah.
It's that time of year.
It's that time of gestation. I get like 5 of them a day. It's pretty great.
Fun.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm drinking water as always. My life is boring.
Cheers. I'm drinking coffee.
Yeah, that's better than nothing. And I am reading.
Oh yeah.
Do you get it? It was a visual pun because it rose.
That's
Right.
good. I gotta grab that book and I gotta grab another book. So you guys chat and I gotta, because there's a visual comparison that I made the other day and like it's really something. If you need like a book to read for a bit, like get that book. I'll be back. You guys enjoy.
Go. You
All
go.
right.
Do your thing. I'm talking now. I'm reading Rise by Brian Guthrie,
Yay.
which this won of the contests, right? This one
Yeah.
first Nerdist. Yeah. Is it?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%.
Oh yeah, it says on here his first novel, Rise, won the Inkshares Nerdist contest,
There we go.
which is this one. That it says that one. But anyway, it's
Now, that looks like it's many pages.
it is. It looks pretty thick. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is he hiding it?
You would think that he would be understanding of someone else who has a very long book, but it's pretty darn good so far. I really like it a lot. If you liked Dune, I think you should probably check this book out because you might like it too.
Cool.
Pretty
So,
interesting.
so this is what I wanted to show. So these are two books, and this isn't like a quality comparison because these are both good books. But then like here's the books, and then here. So if you want like I think they're probably both the same price. So if you're looking for like just like a book, if you don't have a lot of money and you just like want a book that you're gonna read for a while, like the font size is the same. So it's not just like one has like a bigger font. Like there's a lot of book here. So
There's a lot of book there. Yeah.
if you want some book, get
This is
right.
a lot. You're gonna have something to do for a while.
Yes.
So basically, if you read War and Peace and you're like, that book just wasn't long enough for me, pick up Rise by Brian Guthrie.
I don't know. I don't know how many words it is. You got to get him to tell us.
It's nice. How far
Yeah,
into
let's ask him.
I'm that far. Can you see? That's how far I am.
That's a decent amount in there.
I'm zero far.
It's sort of contemplative. Like there's not a lot of action. Actually, I don't think there's been any action at all. No, well, like that much action, but still, it's really interesting and lots of world building. So if you like that kind of stuff, like you know how Dune started out with like 60 pages of world building or something. But anyway. Oh yeah, somebody says. Oh yes, 553 pages. Very long, but very good. So check it out if you like Dune. Check it out. I liked Dune.
Cool. All right. Oh, and Joe just walked away. So
You know what's funny? This is probably
so far.
this is the ironic part. This is probably the most prepared for episode we've ever had because
Yes,
we had
and
two back-to-back
What
episodes,
is wrong with us, guys? Come on.
and we have this entire like list of things that we're going to cover in these episodes. But between all of us getting up and leaving at some point, this has been the least productive introduction to an episode in the history of Drink
Oh,
Shares.
I don't know.
We should just
There's
like
probably a contest for that.
let's just start.
Sans the
Who
drinking
else needs to
episode.
go? Let's just skip Joe
Let's just get into it.
and start talking about crowdfunding.
Yep, let's do it.
Oh, he's back.
He is.
Joe,
Oh,
we skipped you.
wait, we have to start before he gets back.
Okay,
All right.
so
Campaign
crowdfunding.
Go.
What are we talking about? We are on Inkshares campaign prep, or could it be any campaign prep?
I think we kind of talked about crowdfunding in broader terms last episode, so let's go just Inkshares specific for this one.
All right, cool.
How about all the viewers from the Inkshares crowd?
So,
Yeah, so did anybody actually prepare before jumping in? Because I did not.
Did not. I had no clue what it took to crowdfund anything, and I just said, "Oh, there's a contest. Fuck it," and it was just a
everybody
whirlwind of.
everyone
Joe
hates
is like
you.
the extreme example of absolutely nothing was prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we run the
Well,
whole
no, I
game
mean-
here, don't we? 'Cause,
Yeah,
like, Christine, how prepared were you?
I was closer to Joe, but I did have a good chunk. I had like 50% of the story written.
So did you have anything like a tagline or a cover?
Not at all. No.
No? Okay.
Everything was like, let's just put something.
Okay, so it goes Joe as the least prepared, then you, then I'm guessing Beck. No, and it would be me as the next most prepared.
Yeah, you and Becky are
Because I had all my Kickstarter stuff. I had the synopsis, and I had tagline, I had my cover, and I had my video filmed but not edited. And I had a bunch of art that I'd done and commissioned. So I had a lot of stuff, but I did not know Inkshares at all. And I had no followers. I didn't really know how to navigate the system. I didn't have any ideas for like events to participate in or any promotional stuff planned at all. So I had some of the content ready to go, but I was not prepared like Becky was.
Not that it did me much good.
When you start off with,
when I first joined Inkshares, I started off in the draft phase, and I am the only one amongst the 4 of us that did do that. And so I built up a fan base prior to actually posting my campaign. I had started a Twitter. I was posting stuff on there. I had started a Facebook. I was posting stuff on there. I had joined the forums. I had joined Goodreads. I was on a little bit on the Inkshares one. Sorry, I have a hair right in my eye, and I can't figure out where it's at. I just see it and feel it right on my eyelashes. Anyway, I was in Slack. I had a bunch of different places that I was posting and trying to gather followers and things like that. I started with the updates right away. Yeah, I had a really strong campaign starting out, and then of course in the middle of summer that changed, so when I had to switch jobs. But I was really prepared going in, but I am the ultimate test case of just because you're super prepared, it doesn't mean jack shit when it comes to your campaign, because those are 3 long months when you really break it down, and anything can happen, as evidenced by me having to change jobs in the middle of that, just because I had an offer that I couldn't turn down, and that required a lot of transitioning. So
yeah, I think it's really just evidence that like every single day of your campaign matters. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that you did the wrong thing in taking a job and training for it.
Because as much as it was and still is my dream, my second dream is not being homeless or starving to death. So
dream. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small dream, but
understandable.
it's a good one to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would prefer not to be homeless or not have insurance. I'd rather be homeless than not have insurance at this point, because that's terrifying to me. So
I guess I think you just have to work for every single order. Like all the way there. There's no point where you can just set your campaign free.
I mean,
there's watch the orders roll in, you know?
Well, and that's exactly what happened, because there was like a 3 or 4 week period. I think it was pretty much July, because we started it at the beginning of June. It rolled out through July. Orders were coming in strong. Followers were picking up. And then I hit the lull in the hump of the campaign. And of course, that's when I'm going to job interviews and I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm starting my training for my transitioning and all this kind of stuff. And so during the most important part of my campaign, where I need to be searching for followers and readers and basically people that are going to order my book, I had to totally drop the ball, because I was juggling balls, and then I had to start juggling those bowling pins on fire. And I needed to continue to help keep updated my people that had already ordered the book or were at least interested in the book. Plus, that's the time period where you've got to start garnering new interest in new avenues. And so because I wasn't updating the people that I had already got involved, and I wasn't searching out people that were new, it just kind of imploded and collapsed on itself. So
you had a plateau and you didn't have the...
and that plateau basically became a caldera of fail. And then when it all sunk to the bottom, it became like Yellowstone, and it was like... and then it destroyed my world. So
it's really, I'm thinking about how Joe went in with the least amount of preparation, and also definitely finished his campaign with the most amount of orders out of all of us.
Yeah, maybe
that's not the only thing that was different. There are lots of things different. The pre-order price is different. Credits are different.
That's
Mhm.
big, yeah.
Lots is different.
Yes.
So it's not just.
Yeah, don't forget that when I was crowdfunding, so like don't use me as a metric, because when I was crowdfunding, it was the first contest. The bar until like the last day, the bar of the threshold for pre-orders was way lower than any of these other contests. We were like hovering around like 100, orders was like doing good, and and there was a low pre-order price, and and also Sword and Laser had a promotion where when you were a first-time user of the site, you got a free book. So these are like a confluence of things to like go in that like not everybody gets. So yeah, don't use like my freakish good luck as a metric for success. It was just right place at the right time with like the right amount of undiagnosed ADHD, and
I'm sure you did some hard work during your campaign.
it was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of like sacrifice and pain and emotional distress. It wasn't just like, oh, I skated by it was super easy. No, it was very painful. It's just
all luck, luck and randomness.
Yeah, don't use that as a barometer of success of like, oh, you can go in with no planning. It's like no. When Inkshares was new and there were hardly.
I will say that.
What's that?
I had a ton of luck.
There's definitely luck in there for sure, and there was like luck down to the last minute, and it's just Inkshares at that time was so new and fresh, and there were there wasn't the kind of community built around it that there is today, and there weren't as many people vying for a spot, so it wasn't anything like the Nerdist contest where there were hundreds and hundreds of books.
Yep.
Much different.
Right. So I'm just gonna do a question for each of you. Okay. If you could go back, knowing what you know now, what's the one thing you would have done before your campaign that you didn't do?
Finish the book.
That's a good one. Oh gosh, that's a really good one.
Don't crowdfund a book if the book is not done, because you will spend the next year or more feeling sad and trying to finish a book.
Yeah, like you're letting down all those people who put their money towards you. You haven't given them their book yet. Yeah, that part's really hard. Definitely.
Yep.
I think
you can sell a lot better. You can sell a lot better if you know what the book is about. Where at the time I started with an outline and then a chapter that I like hastily like threw together on the night of like the contest was announced. So like my like plot summary was not like an actual plot summary. It was just like a loose setting and like, wouldn't it be cool if, and that's like, that's a much harder sell than being confident in your product and knowing what it's about. And so the more prepared and like, if you can have a finished product that you're confident in, you're going to do a lot better.
Yeah. I think, besides that one, which is definitely some top-notch advice there. Yeah, because they don't require it of you, but yeah, it will make your whole life much easier. The whole process will be easier if you have your book done. If I could go back, I would have prepped in advance more. I would have had like a campaign debut event.
Yeah, that's something I would do, like a 2-week-long Facebook event or something like that.
Yeah, because I had nothing like that at all. It was just like flying by the seat of my pants. And I think it would have been cool to do something like what Tony did, Tony Valdez, for Dex Harrison. He had mugs printed, and he raffled them off every 10 readers. That would have been cool. If I could have done something like that in advance, that would have been nice. Yeah.
I also agree that having your prizes for contests and raffles and things like that done ahead of time would have been more helpful, because that was the one thing that kind of held me back. That was the first thing that started to drip off because I was going to do a raffle every Friday for orders. And then when the orders weren't coming in as fast as I wanted them to, I was like, okay, well, I can wait 2 weeks before I do it. We'll do it every 2 Fridays or whatever. And then 2 Fridays became not doing it at all. And when my priority shifted, in fact, the mug I'm drinking out of tonight was meant to be a prize. I was going to paint stuff on it and put a quote on it, and now it's a cup of sad. So
It's a cup of tea now.
it's a cup of sad chamomile tea, is what it is. A cup of fail tea. But that would have been really nice to have. Also, I really wish that I would have gone around to the few used bookshops and things that we have in Springfield. I spent a lot of time at the library this summer that I was first, like at the beginning of the summer and a little in the late spring when I was joining Drinkshares. I spent a lot of time at the Chatham Library, and Chatham's about 12,000 people, give or take. So we have a really nice library for the community, and they've got so much stuff there that they do movie nights and family things. And I think that if I would have belonged there for a little bit longer, that I could have gotten something going on for like a book launch party and gotten more people in the community to invest in a local author. So I'm kind of disheartened that I didn't take the time to do that.
Yeah, that's a little similar to what I mean, definitely I would have finished the book. I definitely would have set up a Facebook event for at least a week long, so all the people with technical questions can like answer it for each other, and you'd have that like peer momentum thing going on. But also I would have told people I was writing a book like at all, because I hadn't mentioned that to anybody. Because I had zero plans of doing anything remotely like this before jumping in. So it would have been nice to kind of had like that seed planted a while ago before it was actually campaign time. But yeah, so once your campaign does start, what do we think like the most crucial elements of that project page are? You know, there's a lot of things you can do, but not everything is mandatory. So what's the most important, like the biggest impact things?
Fantastic cover. Like the first thing you need to do is you need to hire an artist. I know you don't want to spend cash early in your campaign, and you're probably all broke just like I was, but go on DeviantArt, find somebody who is affordable, that you like their style, and you can get a really decent cover for a fair price, because it seems like, oh, they're just gonna, move their mouse around, tap some buttons, and they're gonna have a cover. But it's incredibly hard. I am an artist. I have years and years and years of traditional art experience. I can whip up a painting, I can do a charcoal sketch, I can do pencil, marker, all of that. But when it comes to digital art, I am a noob. So I can do basic graphics and typography and things like that with Photoshop and editing and software like that. But when it comes to Illustrator or any kind of actual artwork program, it is a whole other beast. You have to have completely different software and hardware to do it properly.
Didn't you do your own cover? I thought you did.
I did it first, but the one I have from Vincent Fernicatello was the professional one. That was the one I shelled out for. So the cover I had with the smoke was not the original cover that I started out with. Just like the video I have was not the original video.
What was your original one? Was it like a locket or?
Yeah, it was a locket, because later on the story, it was kind of a locket, but it was a compass. So it was like a compass in a locket container, because that becomes important later in the story. But that it was giving off too much of a period piece vibe, so I went with the more gritty urban feel of the one I have with Max smoking the cigarette as she's looking out on the city. So that was the first thing that I made sure I did. And I think for about $100, I got my cover and 4 character sketches. And that's a pretty good deal, because it's basically
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, that's basically $20 a pop for my cover and my character sketches, which was really awesome because they were in color and everything. So find an artist that you like, be it your friend or that somebody that you find on the internet that you really like. And most artists that are starting off are going to cut you a fair deal, because they want to make money just as much as you want to pay a cheap price for art. So usually it's all negotiable. but you know, it's time is money to them. So the longer they work, the more expensive it's going to be, and the more that you want, the more expensive it's going to be. So keep that in mind.
What would you say, Kara? Your
What was the question again?
just like, so for the most essential items on your page, where do you get bang for your buck?
Well, yeah, obviously Becky took the obvious one, the cover, obviously, is the first thing that anybody's going to see on their screen. And then the second thing they're going to see is your tagline. And if you have a boring tagline that sounds the same as every other book, or if you have really obvious grammar, spelling, punctuation errors, then that will turn people away. I mean, why would they even click on your book cover to go in and check out your project if you have errors in your tagline, or if it's nonsensical, confusing, or if it sounds
that's a really good point. Because there have been a couple campaigns here or there where it really could have used a copy edit, and it never got one. And you know, that affects.
It's really like those are the two first things that people see, your cover and your tagline. So you got to have a really good tagline, or at least one that you're not embarrassed about.
Yeah, one that I'm still embarrassed about.
You just aim for people to click through. That's all. So those obviously are most essential, I think. And then beyond that, your synopsis, I think, is the most essential.
Yeah. Make sure, like you said with the grammar, if I come into a book and I'm checking it out and then they botch the grammar, it just makes me think that their commitment to quality is low, and the rest of the book is going to be that way. Because if you the synopsis and the blurb and the little things on the page are so small and so easy to get right, from a grammar standpoint, that if you're not going to take a pass and make sure that you can do that right, why should I spend money on your book?
Right. Something I think is important would be a video, even though that's one of the optional things. I do think that it goes a long way, and it doesn't even have to be some fantastically edited thing. If you can just talk to your screen a little bit, or what am I looking for? Like your webcam, and just record something that keeps people on the page. It gets them a little more emotionally invested, I think. So I would say a video is one of the more important things. Yeah,
it's hard. I wish we had better metrics to know what causes actual conversions. Are people buying from reading an expert? Are they just jumping in, seeing the synopsis and buying? Are they clicking through on the video? That's something that I'd like to see, because having that information, knowledge is power, and having good analytics to be able to know what's most effective is kind of a huge help to help everybody in the long run.
I guess we have our anecdotal data of things we've observed over. How long have we all been on Drinkshares? That's
too long.
Over a year.
Well, over a year, yeah. And I mean, things are different. It's so complicated because it's never just one thing. When you're talking about a whole campaign, for a single person, it might be one thing. Like I might see a book and I look at the book title, and I think I have to buy that book based on the book title. And for another book, it might be the tagline. So I have been sold on taglines where I've read them and been like, hey, there's the one that's I think he just changed his tagline. It was something a little bit different when I read it, but it's something like, they cloned me. Now I have to solve my own murder. It's something like that. I forget what the book title is called, but just based on that, I was like, they cloned you, and now you have to solve your own murder? Yes, I will buy that book. That sounds exactly like something that I'm interested in.
There was one book, and I don't think it ever became a draft. I think it was just an idea at the time, or it was a draft and never became a book that funded. But it kind of got hot for a day or so. And and it was called Brobots.
Yes, I thought that's what you were gonna say.
It was just a couple of robots become sentient and like become bros and go on like a road trip, and I thought it was really funny. I thought like just
Something about this just reminds me of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with robots.
and it just seemed like such a like an awesome premise of like two robots are like.
That was definitely an idea, and it might still be an idea.
I think so. It is just like, you know what? We decided we don't want to be robots anymore. Let's go cruise around and bro out.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a very entertaining read. I just don't know what happened to it after it kind of blew up and got a lot of followers, and then I haven't really seen anything from it since.
Yeah, that got tweeted and it had some buzz going.
It's good though, robots.
So I think probably all of us have seen campaigns that had all of these really fantastic things, yet still never sold any orders or more than 5 or 6 orders. So let's get down to the actual strategy of the campaign, which is what it's all about. So what's the very first thing you do when your campaign starts?
Cry.
Already?
Yeah.
Start crying and crying.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like you have to like you're crying so hard that it's hard to press that like begin crowdfunding button, because it's just like you have to like you can barely see it. You can barely see it through the tears.
Plus, have you ever cried so much that you can't just like cry anymore, just like dry heave crying? Like, you want to get all the tears out,
Okay, guys.
so you have none left.
Okay.
So you're not gonna announce it on
Facebook. Find a modicum of positivity somewhere inside our bodies right now.
No, Christine said it right. You should announce it on Facebook before you start. Try to build support up before you fund.
Kara wants us to focus on the optimistic. When you get that first sale
Like a
from your like whatever campaign mode you're in, so like if it was on Facebook or whatever, like when you start to look at your data on your dashboard afterwards, and it's like where are people coming from to view your page, and you start to see Facebook and you start to see Twitter, you know you did that. That's not just your family and friends coming in. Those are actually people like clicking to come check out your page, whether they buy it or not. So that feels really good. That feel like you feel accomplished in somehow.
Yeah, and just to explain that, if you have not launched a campaign yet, once you have your campaign going, you get a dashboard where you get to see like where your visitors came from, and it'll load all your contacts from your email and your other places that have contacts. And you can see, like, you can keep track of who you sent a pitch to, and you can see if they like clicked on that link and came and looked at your page or not.
There aren't pitches anymore, though.
Well, your like email pitch through the dashboard.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. I don't use that tool at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at you. You're just doing your own thing.
No, what I did was I went through my friend list on Facebook one by one and direct messaged people with individualized messages.
Yep.
I did not send a blanket message, except for the part where I was like, this is what my book is and this is how to order it. The intro was all like, hi, I heard you had a new dance show. How's that going? I really wish I could see it. You know, like actually know these people or remind them that I know them, because I do.
I sure love to see your dance show. Too bad I'm writing this book I want you to buy.
Yeah, that's what a lot of it is. But the returns...
You like hate yourself a little bit when you're writing those messages.
You just have to, you'll do things that you won't do at other times in your life that do not seem, you'll go out on a limb a lot. But yeah, direct messaging is the first way.
The return on investment on direct, like face-to-face messaging, whether it be over Facebook or talking to somebody in person, is way, way higher than any direct messaging you can, or any mass messaging you can do.
Just don't mass message anyone.
As long as, like Kara said, don't form letter it. It has to be personalized, and if you can make that personal connection, that's where success comes from. Because you could say like, "Hey, remember when we were in high school and like we both got our asses kicked, but that guy was a real dick, and like we're still cool. Well, like I'm writing a book now, so fuck him. Like, would you like to help me? Build that emotional connection. If you can make an emotional connection with, which are like your friends and family are the people you're most likely to have emotional connection with anyway, it's going to be much easier to sell.
You know what's funny? I could have actually written this Facebook message to somebody I graduated with. This could have been that Facebook message you were just talking about. Hey girl, I know it's been a long time since we talked. I really miss when we used to have sleepovers and play softball together. Remember back in high school when they used to call you Seabiscuit, but now you're married to a race car driver? Well, I'm trying to write a book, so we should be famous together. Talk to you later, Lila's.
Yeah. So
like that was an actual thing I could have written.
That is awesome. So direct messaging. Also,
Somebody just snuck up.
It's a wild
Kids in the background. There's kids in the background, and Miro's screaming.
Wild
and
Brenda appears.
Brenda's
Daddy, Mom's trying to take me downstairs.
Okay.
Was that a naked Miro we just saw?
There's a situation happening back here. Just a minute. Here, hold on. Let me.
This reminds me of
I'm
your
gonna turn
video.
off my camera for a second, and we're gonna
Stop
get this kid to
talking,
sleep.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a moment. We got a
Brenda.
little thing happening here. I just gotta get to the camera control. I'm gonna. All right. I got one hand left. Okay. Bye. For a second.
Okay, all right. So what were we? I was saying something. I was saying direct messaging, but
I didn't
also
even follow that.
if you haven't already done it, you can spend your time putting together content for your social media spots, like tweets for Twitter, Facebook posts for Facebook.
Oh, and when you do Facebook posts, get like some buddies of yours, some people that like know the deal, that have already got your book, or fellow authors. Get them to like and comment on your posts, because the Facebook algorithm does not like posts that have links, but it does like posts that have comments. So if you get people commenting, it will put that at the top of the news feeds.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yes. It's actually, that's one thing that I think is a good thing to start your campaign doing, is finding a few people who can be like your team, your support team, that you can ask to help with stuff, make their own posts on their own social media stuff, liking your posts, commenting on your posts. Let's have a team together, so it's not just you in the dark room staring at your computer screen.
Unless you have a
6
massive
months.
fan base already, I think that's essential.
Yeah, to have some people who support you. And if you don't, I'm very sorry, but just start hanging out in the Inkshares community, comment on other people's projects, some reviews and recommendations, and you can make friends and find other authors who will be your support team.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they think the like, I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine thing is just for swapping actual orders, but that's kind of like the least and shittiest thing you can do. The best thing you can do is to become like teammates and part of each other's campaign team.
Well, and I think it's really important to remember too that the show wouldn't exist if it wasn't for community building, because none of us knew each other before Inkshares. And regardless of whatever happens in our future with book endeavors, whether we move on to other places, whether we end up publishing through Inkshares, whether we end up getting published at all, we still plan on collaborating with each other. And that's something that we built through funding each other's books, Slack, the forums, and things like that, because we were invested in each other's work. So it's really important. Like, everyone undervalues community. It becomes kind of a toxic, dirty word every once in a while, because certain people start to get in and it festers. But if you really work hard at maintaining a positive environment, a helpful environment, a collaborative environment, one that isn't based on competition, but is based on if one of us wins, we all win mentality, then you can do really amazing things. And I think this show and any future endeavors that we are planning on in the next year or so all come back to that idea. that
Mhm.
we wanted each other to win because we were invested in each other's projects just as much as we were invested in our own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought up community because I don't know if some of the newer authors know like some of the really cool things that people did in the earlier days.
Are we gonna reminisce
Yeah,
Oh,
for
nostalgia
the
DLC.
newbies, for the babies?
Review-a-thon
Uh-huh.
that Kara did, and also the coloring book that Kara did. Do you want to explain both of those?
Sure. Well, the review-a-thon, and I've decided to put this idea out there for anybody who decides they want to plan and run another one.
Yeah, someone should run a new one. Someone that's
You
funding.
totally should, because see, what we did was we planned a day of leaving reviews on each other's projects, and that was the goal. The goal was not directly to bring in pre-orders, but the idea is the more reviews you have, the more comments from other people you have to put out there as recommendations for your work. You know, it helps with creating promotional materials, and it just helps you form relationships, and it's great. So the review-a-thon day was a day where we had authors agree to review at least 3 other works in exchange for 2 reviews on their own. And so I had this big spreadsheet, and I like randomized it, and it's like assigned books for people to review. So everybody got at least 2 reviews. Some people got 3, I think. And then people just kept reviewing more and more reviews. And every time you left a review, you got entered to win a prize. And so I got the list of all the people who posted reviews at the end of the day during the live stream, which was hosted by our friends at Right Brain podcast, JF Dubois and Paul Inman. And they interviewed a bunch of authors, including Gary Whitta of Star Wars Rogue One fame and the author of Abomination, and a bunch of other Inkshares authors. We did a read-through of a section of the script of Dax Harrison, the movie Dax Harrison, which was pretty fun. I played one of the characters. And then we raffled off a bunch of prizes, and they got Inkshares to donate a bunch of credits. We had box sets of the contest winning books to give away, and copies of Scrivener, was like a developmental edit consultation with Author Accelerator, which is a website that does that sort of thing. So lots of prizes, and tons of people left tons of reviews, and it was so encouraging. Everybody kept getting all these positive reviews. It was so fun. I thought it was a pretty great day.
It was. Oh, good night. And then
now my children are attacking. So just
that's the theme of this episode. We're just bring it on.
Here, I'm gonna mute my microphone.
And then Becky and I did a similar thing with Drinkshares. It was very much inspired by the review-a-thon. But yeah, like this is something, I don't know if everyone realizes that any of you out there can, you know, come up with an idea or just repeat one of the ideas and run it yourself. And I think it would be really cool if we start to see some more of that happening, because I think like the community's kind of like, it's gone through a lot of changes, because we used to all be on Goodreads, and then we have the Inkshares forum on the Inkshares website now, and there's a lot of Slack groups, so things are kind of like divided now. So it'd be really cool if we had some more unified community efforts going on again.
Yeah.
One of the collaborative things that we did during Drinkshares that I really liked, and I don't know if you guys did it during the review-a-thon, so forgive me if I misspeak, but we incorporated the, what do you call them? I can't even think of the word because I haven't been involved in them for so long. The groups that buy the books. The syndicates, thank you. We incorporated the syndicates, and we reached out to all of the syndicates before Drinkshares started and said, hey, We all know that you guys have books in mind, because a lot of the syndicates that we belonged to were voting. They were democratic, so it was nomination based rather than just like one person saying, okay, our book this month is such and such. So books that they had in mind or were planning on putting up for nomination soon, they basically sent us a list of whatever their syndicate was based on genre. So if it was the mystery syndicate, here are like the mystery and crime books that we're looking at, and if it was sci-fi or fantasy, here are those types of books that we're looking at. And so that was really helpful too, because you knew which books were going to have a lot of follows and a lot of people that were already going to comment on those. So it was great that those books were getting nominations that didn't even realize they were being nominated. But also it helped us guide Drinkshares in the direction of books that we knew were less likely to get views. So we could have the syndicates worry about the ones that they were nominating, and we could channel our energies to the ones that we wanted to help because they weren't going to get as much notoriety. And basically, I don't know. I can't think of words. Words are So that was one of the cool things that I really enjoyed doing, because I got to make all the graphics for that, which I did.
Really cool.
Thanks. I did that over the weekend. We went to WizCon. So basically, while Kara was typing away, I was furiously working on graphics. So like, we're sharing a hotel room and I'm sitting on the bed just like knocking out graphics, or we're sitting in basically panels and I'm like half listening, half working on my laptop. So that was, I think I knocked all of them out, but maybe one or two in the entire weekend, the 4 days that I was at WizCon.
Yeah,
so,
you're amazing. You're amazing, an amazing graphics designer.
Thank you. I'm not that great. I basically just like copy paste things on top of each other, and then I put topography on there, and I just know how to blur the edges. That's my secret, is you blur the edges enough and nobody knows. So
No, you're really good.
Well, thanks, Kara. Hey, if you want typography, like if you want simple covers and you are a fan of typography and you have a picture, get a hold of me. I'll help you make a cover.
There are a lot of people who have that. Yeah.
Because like, you don't need a fancy artist cover. If you just need something to put up until you can get the ideal cover you want, especially since a lot of times when you're going through a publisher anyway, be it Inkshares or whatever, if it's not an indie publisher or a vanity publisher that's expecting you to supply your own art, your publisher is going to change it anyway. So whatever you want, just find a picture that you like. First, go to a site that has free public use pictures. Don't just go to Google and type in, I want a picture of this, and pick something that's copyrighted. So go to the websites you know have free use and non-copyrighted stuff, or sometimes stuff can be copyrighted, but it's okay to be used if it's modified. So if you change the colors of it, or if you add typography, or crop it in a specific way. So if you know what you want and you can get a hold of somebody like me who has some basic photo editing skills, basically it's what I learned when I was sponsoring Yearbook a couple of years ago. You can make a pretty kick-ass cover on the cheap, like for free.
Yeah, or it's the sort of thing where like you can go find someone in the Inkshares community and trade work for that.
Oh yeah, you could write
like,
their blurb.
Yeah, you can.
And they'll make your
Beta
cover.
reading for them, or
Help
Beta
promote
reading.
their work. Yeah, yeah. For a while, like that was one of the early things too. That Paul Inman was going around and reading chapters of people's books.
like as recordings for their video.
I feel like that's another thing that's being really underutilized is the barter system, especially once you get in a community. The barter system is really useful because everybody benefits from it. And I'm not just talking about you buy my book, I'll buy your book. Like there are other skills and things you can trade between authors to support each other without just shelling out cash for a book. And that's especially helpful if you like a person and you want to help support them, but you're not super interested in the types of book they write. That's a really helpful way to help them without necessarily feeling obligated to buy their book.
Yes, because the thing is that we have to think in the long run here, people. Like, it's not just about getting to a certain number of orders, and if I have to just buy 250 other people's books, then I can trade pre-orders, and then I'll reach publication. No, what you want to do is try to find your audience. Try to find people who will actually read your book and be, like, care about it and tell their friends about it. Try and find those people. So if you can trade a little bit of work, to with someone else who can put your book out to their network, pitch your book to their friends, and find you some of those people, that is so much more valuable than just getting an order from somebody who doesn't give a crap about your book. But this is all, we've talked about this many times before.
But it's worth
You
emphasizing.
know the theory.
If people were listening, they would be doing it.
Well,
this is segueing nicely into our one of our last things to touch on, which is things not to do. So another one I want to mention is when you are sending out an update, or even on your synopsis on your project page, don't ramble on so long that your message, like, you have to dig through all the words to find, you know, the most important thing that you're saying, especially when you're sending like an email pitch. You know, you don't have to explain the entire book in your pitch. Like, focus on the call to action. Like, what do you need the person to do? Not, you know, don't send them like your first 5 paragraphs and all of your hopes and dreams and intentions, and then ask them to get the book. Like,
you know how the world's working these days, kids. Everybody reads the first 5 words, and that's it. And they go from screen to screen. Millennials, buzzwords.
And here's the thing. I know from teacher experience that people are going to gloss over the stuff at the beginning, aka directions, for example. I don't know how many times I've had to go back and, like, a kid comes up to me just totally frustrated and mind blown because what they're doing isn't working, and I point to the bold, sometimes capital or underlined words directly under where their name is, which they haven't put on there, which explains why they have not found the directions. And they started without reading the directions. People skip the beginning step. So if you're a person who's writing a book with an introduction or with a prologue, don't be surprised if someone is beta reading your book or even reading your work at the, like, after it's published, and is sending you hate mail because they don't understand why your book doesn't make any sense. And yet you explained your entire backstory in the prologue or the introduction, and they fucking skipped it because they're lazy. So that
sounds like a drunk opinion, Becky.
I just figured out what my unsolicited advice is tonight. Okay. Oh dear. So Christine figured out so I can finish my rant.
Wait, figure what out?
Whatever you're gonna say.
I said something.
Yeah, but you said it was segueing.
Well, yeah, and I said something after that already.
Okay, but yeah, I'm saying finish that so I can get back on with my rant.
Oh,
I was on a roll there.
No, I think we got the gist. I understand we were saying, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it, right? You get it.
Yeah, I guess of the other things not to do.
Because I have a rant too.
Most of that.
I have a rant.
You have a rant? All right, I'll say one more thing not to do.
Go ahead.
I think we said everything else. So don't.
No, my thing is the thing not to do.
Oh, then say your thing not to do.
Okay, the thing not to do is, okay, like, people, if it works for you, this is fine. I mean, by all means, best of luck to you if it works. Congratulations if it works. But I just don't see the logic in saying, once I get to another 10 readers, I'll release the next chapter of my book. Like, what's the theory there? You're offering a small bit of your product as a prize for enough people ordering the whole thing of the product. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Don't understand. They're buying your whole book, and you're saying, as a prize for 10 of you doing that, I'm going to give you a tiny bit of it now. Like, far before the time when you'll be able to read the entire work and get the full experience. Just doesn't make any sense. Like, do you think all these random people out there are conspiring and going, hey, if enough of us get together, we might get to read another chapter of this book? Like, maybe.
It's a good point.
Maybe that's happening. But maybe you are an unknown author, and most people who are buying your book are doing it with the understanding that they'll get the full work later, and that's what they're paying for. But they're also just helping you out because they're doing you a favor. Like you were not doing the readers a favor. It's like your writing is not a prize. You are the one who needs a favor from them. Pre-order for your book that's not done yet. They are
What
not the
I-
ones who need a prize from you.
Yeah,
That's
what
my
I would like to do
That is my
is,
opinion.
and I know that like some people will read it, some people won't, but what I would like to do if I choose to to crowdfund again with another book is to finish the book first, as I said earlier, and then offer that as a pre-order bonus of, hey, if you pre-order, rather than saying like, oh, pre-order 10 and you'll get a copy of, you'll get a copy of the next chapter. No, pre-order and then here's a link, you can download the draft right now and read it. And then you've got like an actual deliverable rather than, hey, pre-order now and then wait 2 years to get the book. It's like, hey, you want to read it right now in its raw form? Here it is. I would prefer to do that because it's just for somebody who just came in and like had to write the whole book after you crowdfunded. It's just like, it's not fun to like be like, okay, Jess, just don't worry. In like 2 years or so, you're gonna get it. Don't worry. You pre-ordered in 2015 and in 2017, you're gonna get a copy. It's a very hard sell.
It is a hard sell.
All right,
I think
so
Becky
we
has
are
something, right?
we're running out of time here. So I want to ask one more question of the group, and Becky can finish her rant, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So the last question is, reminiscing over all of the many things you've seen and done. If anyone has like their craziest story of someone else's campaign or like an embarrassing moment where they made a blunder during your own campaign, anything noteworthy like that, and you have to share it quickly.
Wait, say it again.
Just any like what are the standout moments of just crazy campaign moments or embarrassing mistakes? Anything that stands out.
God, the first sword and laser contest was down to the wire, and back then the idea was we're gonna end these contests at midnight, and it was the first contest, so the Drinkshares crew didn't think like, oh boy, that means that like we have to be up at midnight to close this thing off, and it was like so chaotic and everything was wild, and the pre-order numbers just got crazy at the end, and you were in and you were out, and it was like you were refreshing the page every 5 minutes and freaking out, and I was chatting with the other people, and Derek went to sleep because he was really sad because he didn't think he was going to win, and he was gone, and then the results came up and there were 6 winners instead of 5, and then Asteroid made a Dragons as the 6th, and I was like tweeting at him and like sending him messages and like screaming at him, like, wake up, you won, wake up, and he was asleep and he didn't see him until the morning.
Oh, that's a great story that I've never heard before.
It was really intense. It was super, super intense.
That sounds crazy.
And somebody started pre-order scamming like in the last like few hours, and it was just there were just 2 backers, and they were like bouncing pre-orders back and forth, and they like the person was like slowly going up the charts, and we're like trying to get a hold of the Drinkshares people because it was before like we had good contacts with them, and like, oh my god, this person is like cheating the system, and then like it was like 2 hours before the end, and they got all their pre-orders wiped, so it's like suddenly they're like like going down the list.
Justice.
Incredibly dramatic.
It was dramatic and stressful, and it's one of those like you had to be there kind of moments, and if anybody could have watched that leaderboard, it was just once in a lifetime kind of thing. And it broke me for like 3 months after that.
That's about right. I liked watching is it Katie McKenna? Is that her name? The How to Get Run Over by a Truck? I liked watching hers because I think like a lot of us noticed it around the same time, but like individually noticed it, and everyone was like, wait, do you know, like, was this book here last week? Like where did this come from? How does it have so many orders out of nowhere?
Yeah, because she had a campaign that didn't quite make it, and so she regrouped and she planned, and from what she said, she had a bunch of people set up as her team, her squad, as Ricardo said. Great idea, squad. Yes, who amplified her message. on in the first couple days. So she had a group of people who were her worker bees spreading her message out in the first couple days, and she got all those orders, and it was crazy. That was a good time. Yeah.
So, Kara, if I'm understanding right, the best way to start a successful campaign is to start a cult. You get lots of followers, then you get those followers to spread your message. They take it to the streets. I mean, clearly, cult is the way to go.
I mean, if that's the word you want to use.
That is the word I want to use.
Like a cult of your book.
That's right.
I feel like some authors would like that better than others.
I would be able to go with a cult.
Really well, though.
Especially
I'm sure for some books that'll work really well.
Yeah.
And you could just call it a cult.
Hey, it worked for Cthulhu, so. And now he's going to be president.
He's going to be president. Oh, that's so proud.
I mean, that's only if giant, what is it, hashtag meteor of death or whatever doesn't sneak in as a third party.
Yeah.
The giant spaghetti monster?
No, there's something that's like, it has something to do with
meteor.
Giant meteor.
Meteor 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to think of what the craziest. You know what was? I think the craziest thing was probably getting the coloring book out. We got it out in 10 days from start to finish.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We pulled in authors. Well, I pulled in authors.
Melissa Berg was big with it.
Melissa Berg agreed to do half the illustrations, or slightly less than half, because some people already had art for their book. Pulled it all together and digitally published it within 10 days, so it was ready before the end of the Nerdist contest. So that was crazy. I was a busy lady, I tell you that.
And that was just smart because that was so on trend. Like, that, out of all the things that you could do, I've never heard of anybody doing that, and everybody's coloring these days. Mm-hmm. So that was a really smart thing to do. So make sure that if you are going to do something that's going to bring people into your campaign, know what's going on. What are people doing? And how can you manipulate that to get people to buy your book?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, rant time.
Okay, first, I do want to say that I think the craziest thing that was part of my campaign was definitely Shotstravaganza. We started that off with a bang. I don't remember whose idea it was. It started as a joke, and then it became a thing, and it was the greatest thing that happened.
If anybody has not seen Shotstravaganza and they're watching this, because I see that we have 9 viewers now, so it's possible that somebody here is new. You should go back and watch Shotstravaganza. It is an episode.
While watching that episode.
Consider drinking or partaking in other things while you're watching. We get very drunk. At a point, there's pirate hats and like people fading into the background and
blue screen or green screen, whatever it was.
I should probably rewatch it because I don't even know what happens. There's just too much.
You will feel drunk even if you're not.
I don't remember which actual episode that was though.
They're all titled though.
Well, we have not on our list. I was going back and trying to find
it's not
the
on
number.
It should be. Let me check it. I can check it right now. You guys fill in. I'll check it.
Okay, rant time. So, before we finish tonight, I just want to I think I've said this before, and I know people don't agree with me on it, but I don't care. I have read a lot of things that have convinced me that prologues are unnecessary. And in my humble yet correct opinion, I believe that using prologues is a sign of weakness in your story. And yes, I am aware that I am sure people in this group have used prologues, and that's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. The point I'm trying to say is that we can move on from this. A prologue is a easy way to story dump, info dump, and that's a crutch. So people don't like prologues. They skip them a lot. And that's why if you write one and people are hate mailing you because they don't understand what's going on in your story, it's because you didn't write your backstory interestingly enough for them to be engaged in the first place. So if you are, what's that?
Fantasy readers love a good prologue.
Including fantasy. All right. I know a lot of people stick with them. They're tried and true, but I think there is a better way that you can incorporate the stuff that you are going to put into your novel into the story.
You know what? Writing rules are not one size fits all.
They do not listen to Christine. She is made of lies. If
I
Christine-
agree with Christine.
If Christine was a statue, she would be the Statue of Liberty. Because
Rivalry.
Oh,
so
that's nice, Becky.
You
do
know,
not waste
Let me come up with the comeback.
all
No,
the prologues.
next time.
That's it.
you know
I
what you can.
disagree.
You know what you can always do is you can always take your prologue and label it chapter 1, and then force people to read it.
Which is what I did. But I didn't label it prologue. But
You're
it
not
does,
gonna fool anybody.
no, it does. But my story, Intrepid's gonna have
Chapter
time.
1, sure.
Wait, so this is all coming from someone who has a prologue?
No, I don't have a prologue. My story has time jumps in it, so the first chapter does take place before the stuff, but it's gonna have other time jumps in it. So it's a lot like the Night Circus. How the Night Circus has time jump chapters in it.
I'm gonna name like my 7th chapter prologue
You should do that.
in the middle, and it won't be a prologue. It'll
Why
just
do
be
we
like,
only have prologues? Why don't we have like interlogs that come in between?
we should have interlogs.
Like we should
Like
have
people
interludes.
do whatever they want, okay?
Light
Do whatever
aside.
you want when you're writing your book. Like
But don't complain
you
when
have an
people skip your stuff.
interlog, you can have an epilogue, you can have whatever kind of log you want in your book. Like
How
you
about
could have
just don't
you could have a
complain?
prologue that's 60,000 words and a book that's a novella that's 10,000 words. You could do whatever you
Yeah,
you want.
you can do
Literally
both of those things, but you will not have a
do
published book.
whatever you want. You
You can put a
Do
book.
what I want.
yeah, whatever. you can
We
do
live in. We live in.
I
That's
think
why it's unsolicited advice, people. You don't have to take it. Like I said, you can
Yeah.
choose to be wrong in your wrongness. And
Uh-huh,
that's
We live.
on you.
strongly disagree.
We
That's why
live.
we're friends. We acknowledge each other's differences. We debate and build off them,
Hey,
and we
listen.
learn.
I
Don't
got
have to read your wisdom.
Hold on. We live in a society where Chuck Chingle can get fucked by his own book and sell it for 99 cents. So anything is possible.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went there.
You know, like you could have an entire book that's like, ugh, don't like, okay, this is kind of like a hipster dude thing to do, maybe, I don't know. But like an entire book that's in capital letters, an entire book that has no punctuation in it, you know, like whatever. People can do whatever they want.
That's called William Faulkner, and nobody likes that. But I remember a couple years ago, one of the trends in YA was writing in text speak, which was definitely a generation definer, because if you didn't text speak when you text, like there are very few words I shorten when I am texting, because it frustrates me. I use punctuation, I use full words, unless I have a reason to not do it. So
I'm gonna go check all your Slack messages and see if this is true.
for the most part, in fact, you can go back, because I even edit my stuff. That's how kind of conscious I am about like when I mess up spelling words or transpose letters or things like that. So it's always been frustrating to me. But I remember a girl that was only like 4 or 5 years younger than me in school, who was friends with my sister, was reading a text speak book, and the entire book was written in the lingo format from text. So it was like numbers and letters.
Horrible. And scary.
It was really hard to read, because if you didn't know what the slang was, if you didn't know what all the little acronyms meant and all that, you had no idea what they were talking about. So
People in the chat are really pissed off about your Faulkner gig. Shit got real over here.
I like how the Faulkner thing is what pissed them off, but my 20-minute rant about prologues, that pissed off
No,
nobody.
they didn't like that either. They didn't like
That's okay. I don't need your love. I don't need you to tell me.
You know what really matters is whether people will read your book, right? So if you just write a good book, and then what else do we have to say? Your book is great.
Much like Bo Burnham, most people do not realize that a lot of the stuff I do on the show is an act, because it is fun and it makes people happy. So, but I still hate prologues. That was not an act. I hate prologues.
I don't know.
You got
Now
that.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
I know.
Everything you say
I
is
think thou who calls me the Statue of Liberty.
You have got to admit, that was a fantastic pun.
Get out of there.
That was great. Guys, I'm looking at our show notes and we didn't give like half of this advice. There's so
Hey.
much more advice to give.
It was really long.
We had
It's a lot
so
to
much
go
to
over.
say and we didn't say it all.
You can never say everything.
Well, someday there'll be like an article or blog post that mentions all of the things.
That's
I
a
wonder
good,
where might
yeah.
someone find something like that. Perhaps soon in the future we might find out.
Some way. So, on that weird note, Bill, would you like to wrap it up for us?
Who's gonna wrap it up? Me?
Yeah, you're the rapper.
Yes. So, as we continue to the end of the year, where we are exploring new adventures, please continue to follow us on the Drinkshares Author Collaborative YouTube channel, which may be evolving in the future. Hint, hint, wink. And we've got a lot of good content coming up. So like our Facebook page, interact with us on Twitter. 2017 is going to be a very interesting and exciting year. And if you want to continue with that, keep interacting with us. We got a lot of good stuff coming up, and it's only going to get better. And Carrie's going to, like a baby is going to come out of Kara. So like stuff is happening. It's just like stuff is happening all over
Books
the
are
place.
gonna start popping out of Kara too.
Like books are coming out of people,
Maybe my
babies
book
are
will come
coming out of people.
Yeah, maybe your book will come out. Yeah.
Can you finish that up for me?
How's
Anything is.
that gestation going?
It's going.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing about having a baby is like you got like a definite timeline on it. You know,
Yeah, I know.
It's not
As
like-
opposed to a book.
a book is a baby that like sits in your belly for years.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kraken's really hidden.
We gotta wrap up. Is that your wrap up?
This is weird.
Don't you have to say something else about?
I told people to follow the YouTube channel and follow us on our social media networks. And
Follow me
I
on
think
@Bonebone Tweets.
yeah, I think I hit all the notes. Did I miss something?
Yeah, we don't have our next episode decided yet, so we can't put that.
We got stuff happening. There's
There's a
rumors.
lot going on.
There's rumors that there's going to be a Halloween party.
There is gonna be a party.
So I mean, if you guys like to party,
Costume mandatory.
yeah, if you guys like to have a costume party, there's stuff coming up. We got some stuff. So,
And I will take recommendations for what I should be or what my belly should be, because I like to dress up my belly for Halloween if I'm pregnant. Last time I was the Death Star, so.
Oh, awesome.
But I don't want to be the Death Star again, so.
You could be Quado from Total Recall. Just like draw a little face on there, and like the guy that comes out, he's like,
do that.
"Start the reactor."
No.
It could be the
I'm not gonna-
sun, and then you could have the rest of the solar system like around you on your arms, maybe.
That's a decent idea.
Or you could be a black hole since children suck the life out of you.
That's true.
There you go.
This is
You
true.
could just dress all in black.
Could be, yeah. All
All
right.
right, well, anyway.
Well,
May all your drinks be shared.
oh, yes. 50 drinks be shared.
Oh,
Your drinks be shared and your prologues remain unread and unloved.
Boo.